I promised you to do a 1-year follow-up about my Zenith Defy Classic, which is actually long overdue. So to keep my promise, here is the 2-year follow-up, which might be even more important as this watch will be discontinued soon. So lean back, take a coffee and enjoy the video. I bought the Zenith Defy Classic back in 2020 from the Zenith flagship store in Dubai Mall. I paid a bit below the retail price at the time, so around $8,000, and got on top a free service to the watch. Right from the get-go, I got quite a big hit on the watch and could have gotten it a lot cheaper from Chrono24. But with the free service, the boutique experience, and being able to share the shopping video with you, I was quite happy with the overall package. Speaking about numbers, the watch is creeping up in value over the last year, and I could imagine it will make a bigger step soon. As said, this watch will be discontinued around February or March, and you should be able to see the successor already at the boutiques. I could imagine it will be announced during the Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy Watch Week. So for today's review, I thought about giving you all the positives and negatives and end it with the watch score. By that, you should get a good overview of this beautiful piece and be able to find out if it is the right watch for you. One thing up front, I think this is the best value for money integrated bracelet watch that you can buy right now. Why is it so? That's what we are going to find out right now. The dimensions are absolutely perfect for a sports watch. 41mm case diameter at a thickness of around 10mm is hard to beat. The short lug-to-lug length makes this a watch that also suits smaller wrists. The materials used for this watch are actually titanium grade 5, which is lighter and harder than stainless steel. So always take care, many watch manufacturers will use a lower grade titanium, but this titanium grade 5 is pretty hard and by that super scratch resistant. On top, the watch feels very sporty because the weight of the watch is actually way lower than compared to a stainless steel piece, and I think a low weight actually fits a sports watch pretty good. So even after 2 years, you can't really see any scratches on the watch except for the clasp, which of course will always bang against the table, or you slide it over tables or whatever while you're putting your hands down. So the clasp is usually a very sensitive part of any watch. But as said, besides that, I can't see any scratches on the whole watch, and I really like that. The front and back is covered with a sapphire crystal, so also no cost cutting here from Zenith. The bracelet is one of the big highlights, I would say. You see there are many light reflections from the polished edges, and with the top parts which are brushed, this gives a really nice effect to the bracelet. Then the bracelet also has a beautiful tapering from 25mm at the case lugs to 17mm at the clasp. A beautiful butterfly clasp that you can actually close from both directions, and close and open by double side pushers for extra safety. The case has a water resistance of 100 meters and comes without a screw down crown actually, but I prefer this kind of style actually because it makes the watch way more convenient if you need to set the time or if you want to wind it. You don't need to unscrew the crown, so this is super cool, and if it still has 100 meters of water resistance, I actually prefer this. And now some of the highlights you will probably only notice as an owner of this watch. So the hour indices are fixed in a way on the dial that it lets them, that the dial presents them in a way that it looks like the inner end of the indices would be floating over the dial. Pretty cool effect, and you will notice this once you have a closer look on the dial. Then the full date wheel is skeletonized, and at the 6 o'clock position there is some kind of loomed background behind the skeletonized wheel, so you can read the date at the 6 o'clock position. Also, what's super cool, you can set the date into both directions, so to the left or to the right, what makes it a lot faster and more convenient in case you need to set the date because your watch stopped running maybe for a few days. Also, while setting the date, you will never get this weird feeling of breaking something as it moves smoothly into both directions. The watch is highly legible, what also many people would not believe from a skeletonized or open work dial watch, but this one is, I guess, especially due to the big hour indices and big hands with a lot of lume in the inside. Then what's also pretty cool, the chapter ring looks like it lays flat on the movement and is divided by the hour indices. So not your standard cheap chapter ring that you just insert on top of the dial. This one looks pretty integrated into the dial movement, however you want to call it. And also the chapter ring is in this nice blue or turquoise, and that gives a nice small touch of color to the, let's say, more grayish looking watch. Especially at night time or in the evening, this dial and overall this watch looks fantastic. The lower light conditions really help the bling and shine the bracelet and the dial has, and also it's very legible in darker conditions due to the lume that you find on the dial. And then with currently around $6,500 on the second-hand market, this watch is an absolute bargain, I would also say. So then let's discuss the negatives. Unfortunately, this watch has no micro adjustment or easy extension at the clasp. Also, there are no half links available, so better try this watch before buying one. Luckily, after losing a bit of weight, it now fits me perfectly. Changing this watch to a rubber strap is not that easy as well. You have to buy additional end links, a rubber strap and a folding clasp, and all of that together will set you back around $1,000. So not cheap changing the bracelet to a rubber strap, and it's also not super convenient to do so because there's no quick release and you actually have to change the end links with a special tool, something like a spring bar tool for the Rolex bracelets, and then you can attach the rubber strap with the different end links. Yeah, so bit of a hassle, not that convenient, and that's definitely one of the downsides. Then the power reserve is 50 hours. I think for me it's still fine, but of course I would prefer a bit stronger power reserve, like 70 or 80 hours would be of course much better. And with that we have it already, so there are no more negatives I could think about. With this watch, the positives clearly outweighed the negatives, so now it's time for the watch score. So the watch dimensions are nearly perfect, or actually are perfect, with a super thin case of around 10 millimeters, while it has quite a big diameter, but then again, due to the short lug-to-lug distance, it sits even well on smaller to medium-sized wrists. Then also the case is very well made, with 2 sapphire crystals, so see-through case back always nice, and the movement definitely looks very beautiful and the rotor looks pretty cool. Then on top of that, with an open case back and this very thin profile, 100 meter of water resistance is really amazing for the piece, and also the case is really made in very interesting shapes. Then the movement, I measured it once, runs very precise, between 0 to +2 seconds a day, and is finished in an open work design. So again, another plus point here, brings some innovative features like the silicone wheel for some long maintenance intervals, and also the mechanism of the date, that you can set it into both directions and you don't get this weird feeling of breaking something, is super cool. Yeah. So then on top of it, the bracelet is another highlight, and even though it has no micro adjustment or easy extension, which is a bit of a downer and definitely gives some minus points, still the finishing is super beautiful, it looks awesome, and if you find the right fit, it also sits very comfortable. Yeah, and on top this super nice tapering. Yeah, definitely one of the best bracelets in the market. Then for the daily usage, this watch will do great, of course. with the date and the good legibility and the nice design, but I would say it's definitely better at the weekend, where it really pops on your wrist, it blinks, it shines in the evening time. So it's definitely an eye catcher, and you will get a lot of kudos from people around you. Then for the sportive usage, I would actually prefer this piece on the rubber strap, which is, as said, not so easy to install, but the lightweight, the thin dimensions will still do a great job. Image and history of the piece is still a bit below maybe average in the whole watch world, but for Zenith I would say it's a very important piece. I think it's one of their best selling watches, this skeletonized titanium bracelet version. So it definitely helps Zenith to keep on growing, to spend money on innovation, to bring more watches, and as said, due to that I think it's a significant piece in the history of Zenith. Then the brand recognition for Zenith is of course very good, but again, Zenith is still a bit under the radar outside the watch collectors society. So definitely from watch collectors very appreciated, but outside this circle pretty underappreciated. Yeah, so still Zenith has to work on that. And with today's grey market prices, you can get this watch for an absolute bargain. As said, for example, on Chronext for around $6,000. But even if you would buy it at the boutique, I think you will get it somewhere around $8,000 to $8,500. What is for this watch still a great buy and definitely a bargain if we compare it to other integrated bracelet sports watches, which are trading way higher but deliver actually less value for money, I would say. And with that, we are at the end of the video, guys. As said, I guess this is one of the last great underappreciated integrated sports watches. So if you're looking for such a piece, definitely check out this watch, and better grab it now before the watch is getting discontinued, and by that prices will probably go up a lot for this piece. And with that, thank you for watching, stay healthy, and bye bye.